Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My blood pressure is up right now. I cannot believe just what I heard on the House floor. The ranking member of this distinguished committee denouncing Trump, but will not denounce socialism on the House floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. History is clear. Socialism
basketball
kills
stream or
people,
re-riot?
leads to deaths
I
of
want to
tens
do a
of
basketball
millions,
stream.
crushes religious liberty, and destroys free markets. Our founders built this nation on a revolutionary...
Socialism destroys precious liberty and denounces free markets. Nice. Not the free markets. I'm so angry right now, I could lose my mind. How dare you denounce the precious free markets? Fucking awesome. Thanks, man. We were supposed to go to the Kowloon Walled City, which no longer exists, but exists simply as a... because they destroyed it because it was considered a den of crime. It now exists as a park. It used to be an imperial. It used to be a imperial army barracks, I believe, and then they built the Kowloon Walled City on top of it, and it was there was a lot of crime that was coming out of it. Obviously, it was anarchist in nature in its formation. I think it's one of the coolest things of all time. Yeah, it's an inspiration for the narrow neighborhoods in Batman Begins. It's an inspiration for a lot of art, but basically they demolished it and put a park over it. The park has a basketball court. There are 2,500 basketball courts in Hong Kong, apparently. They love basketball out here. They condemned the entire structure, and then they demolished it, and then they put a park over it, basically. And it had I think at the time, it had the highest population density on the planet. Like, nothing came close to it. And I wanted to go see it, but apparently Irene is telling me that we are not allowed to. We're not allowed to stream it, which is fucking weird. I just like there's a lot of stuff that we're just like not allowed to stream in Hong Kong. It seems the people that lived in Kowloon said they miss it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of beauty in it, even though it was like obviously incredibly poor. How did your Zhongshan suit come out? I haven't seen it yet. How can you call a mega ghetto city cool? That's maximum rich kid talk. It's not maximum rich kid talk. There is a reason why the Kowloon Walled City was so influential, so formative in a lot of art, including the Ghost in the Shell series and things like that. It's a historic monument in and of itself, and not only is it like the reason why I'm saying it's cool is because not everything is as it seems. While it was run by the gangs and it was a den of criminality, there was a tight-knit sense of community inside of it as well, from what I understand. Like there were shops, there was commerce happening, there were people living on top of one another. Yes, it is a testament to humanity's tenacity, and I do find it to be fascinating. Agent streamed it. You should be good, fam. Question: why are there live streaming restrictions in Hong Kong? Wait, really? Agent streamed it? Actually, or no? Are you making it up? My stepdad was kind of a rich kid, but still lived in that wall city. They had nannies and shit. Wait, what? Streamed what? It doesn't exist anymore. I see it as an architectural marvel. Architecture professors are fascinated by it too. Yeah, Kowloon Walled City. A team of Japanese researchers spent time until the night before it was demolished, measuring and drawing the building, creating this incredible section. Like, look at this. Look at how fucking dense it is, dude. This is the abundant dream. I think it's impossible not to marvel at this, especially considering that this was like built without. It was built on top of imperial barracks, without the government. Like they were at the time taking advantage of like the lack of laws in Hong Kong in general. Yes, it is an architectural wonder. It is an anthropological marvel. It is one of the most unique ways of existence, in my opinion. The buildings were so high that airplanes would have to curve carefully to not hit anything when landing. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I showed you already. This is a completely like independently constructed, super densely populated city that was created by hand. And they obviously, due to all of the criminal activity that was like, they had their own internal governance structure. Basically, they had their own internal governance structure. Here's a video.
What you are
on
looking
it.
at is considered the most densely populated place that ever existed. On an area of just 6.5 acres, or 4 football fields, dozens of individual buildings have merged into one solid organism that houses shops, restaurants, churches, private homes, and virtually everything that makes a city. While the outside-facing apartments get to enjoy sunlight, a vast majority are located within this block, full of dark pathways. It is a giant urban maze that attracted all kinds of people with reasons to hide. This is Kowloon Walled City. To understand just how incredibly closely packed people lived here, let's compare this city with other places. Take the East Village in New York City, located in Lower Manhattan. There's a small park in the center, but other than that, it is a pretty dense neighborhood with historic row houses and more recent large apartment buildings. Based on the 2010 US Census, just over 44,000 people live here. That results in a population density significantly higher than for all of New York City, and New York is the most densely populated city in the United States. By all means, this is a dense place. But let's compare it to Kowloon Walled City. In 1987, a survey estimated that 33,000 people live here. The density is simply astounding. And in reality, the number might have been even bigger, with some estimates going up to 50,000 people. Perhaps the strangest thing about Kowloon Walled City, however, is just how abruptly it ends. While everything is crammed into this tight block of buildings, behind the sharp walls of the city, there are relatively spaced out buildings, and even a park with sports fields. So why was everything crammed into this small block? The answer is that Kowloon Walled City wasn't part of the rest of Hong Kong, but had its own legal status. The walled city began as nothing more than a small Chinese military outpost, stationing about 10 guards. It really started to take shape more than a century later, when the outpost was expanded by the construction of a larger fort. At the same time, the nearby harbor of Canton began to gain importance. Chinese tea was a hot commodity for British traders, who purchased it in staggering volumes, allowing this region to prosper. However, the trade relationship was notably unbalanced. While the British bought large quantities of tea, the Chinese had little need for goods from Europe. To improve this trade balance, the British began to illegally import opium from India to China. This scheme proved effective, with the widespread consumption of the drug escalating rapidly. This led to an addiction epidemic, which wreaked havoc on the Chinese economy. Recognizing this crisis, the imperial government took decisive action to halt the opium trade, but this move led to a heated conflict, which would later be known as the First Opium War between Great Britain and the Chinese Empire. Britain won the war and subsequently occupied Hong Kong in 1841. The walled city was not affected, as it was located on the island nearby, and as a result of this loss, the Chinese Empire decided to reinforce the fort in Kowloon by building large walls around it, giving the area its lasting name, Kowloon Walled City. At the heart of this fortress, they built a yamen, which is the main office from which this outpost is administered. The tensions between China and Britain continued on, ultimately leading to the Second Opium War in 1860. As a result, the Kowloon Peninsula too fell into British hands. and the final boundary negotiation took place in 1898, resulting in a 99-year lease of the new territories to Britain. This is, in short, the story of how Hong Kong became a British colony as it is commonly known. But what is often overlooked is that the convention included one specific exception: the Kowloon Walled City, which is located inside the new territories, a Chinese enclave in the middle of British Hong Kong. As time moved on, both the Chinese and the British administrations showed a lack of interest in the walled city, leaving it to its own fate. The desolate barracks soon became makeshift homes for squatters seeking refuge. And recognizing the need for community structures, a Protestant church seized the opportunity to establish a senior home within the historic Yamen. But the peaceful existence of this enclave was shattered in 1937, when war erupted between Japan and China. The full-scale invasion initiated by Japan emerged as the central conflict in the Pacific throughout World War II. And by 1942, Japan had taken control of vast swaths of northern China, as well as holding various coastal exclaves, one of them being Hong Kong, which they utilized as a strategic military base. The Japanese expanded the local Kai-tak airport, and to do so they needed building materials. Therefore, they tore down the walls of Kowloon Walled City, which was located right near the airport. The end of the Second World War saw Hong Kong revert to British control. Simultaneously, the newly founded People's Republic of China in 1949 reasserted its right over the Kowloon Walled City. Practically, however, neither the Chinese nor the British took control of this area. And with a massive wave of refugees in the wake of the Chinese Civil War, the need for cheap living space in Hong Kong was immense. And so, in the decades that followed, a maze of buildings grew ever higher and denser. Single houses became multi-story buildings, became 14-story skyscrapers. The sunlit streets turned into shaded paths until they were eventually completely blocked from sunlight. Within the confines of the walled city, the laws of Hong Kong were not enforced. Any construction within the city proceeded without adhering to any building codes, with one singular exception. Due to the city's close proximity to Kai-tak Airport, a strict height limit of 14 stories was enforced. Kowloon Walled City was located right along the path into the airport. Landings at Kai-tak were one of a kind, with pilots navigating through Hong Kong's mountainous terrain, flying remarkably close to the walled city on final approach. The highest priced apartments were those facing the outside, followed by those near the internal courtyard. These units offered the precious commodity of sunlight and fresh air. You could add a caged balcony to your apartment, cleverly expanding your living space. But most of the units were located inside, in extremely unhealthy conditions. This is a plan for a typical building inside the city. With no windows, people here were completely dependent on electric light. There also was no waste management in place, which led to catastrophic air quality. Frequently, rubbish was simply disposed on one of the city's rooftops, or thrown into one of the shafts between buildings. The air is said to have been constantly stuffy and polluted by the many factories that operated inside the city. As for clean water, a mere 6 official water stations served the entire...
Sorry, I was setting up the camera and stuff. What would you have done with it? I think I would have tried to keep it as a historical monument. But at the time, I assume it was virtually impossible to like not only move people out, but then also because like you are literally condemning a building that had 65,000 people living in it. So it's virtually impossible to like keep it standing while also simultaneously getting people out. It's very, very difficult.
Which means residents often had to carry the water over long distances. In terms of electricity, few actually paid for the service. Instead, most residents opted to illegally tap into external cables, routing them through the city's intricate maze of narrow passageways. These harsh living conditions attracted not just those looking for a cheap place to live. The city's ambiguous legal status also attracted those who saw potential for unique business opportunities within its shadowy confines. The walled city became a popular hub for dentists. Many of those had obtained their qualifications in mainland China, but found their licenses unrecognized in British-governed Hong Kong. This rendered them unable to legally practice elsewhere in the city. The absence of regulatory oversight also allowed various workshops, such as those specializing in metal fabrication, to flourish within the city. And kitchens were selling popular food items that were outlawed in the rest of Hong Kong, such as dog meat. Generally, food production was a common business inside the city, despite the completely unsanitary conditions. It is even said that many of the delicacies processed here over the day ended up on the plates of expensive restaurants across Hong Kong later in the night. While these kinds of businesses within the walled city skirted the edge of legality, others plunged straight into the realms of serious criminal activity. Just because this city is free from the laws of Hong Kong did not mean it was a space without order. Power structures still exist, with the triads, notorious criminal gangs, controlling the city. While businesses did not pay taxes, many of them...
Yeah, this is also the other reason why they were like, we gotta get rid of it.